Chatterton from DOT. Nice to see all of you. Tonight, we have a really great, exciting presentation on the 9th Avenue Super Sidewalk from 34th to 50th Street. Joining me tonight is my colleagues, Dan Wagner and Mary Daly, and Mary is going to deliver the presentation to you this evening. So thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thanks, Colleen. And before Mary presents, I just wanted to remind the board that we did present a preview of this in December 2023. And this presentation that Mary is about to give is the follow-up to that. I know it was a little while ago, but we have been working on it diligently ever since. And, projects like this, they take a long time. So we're very excited to finally get to a point where we can discuss it with you. Mary?
Great. We've been in this room waiting for 2 years.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Daly. As Colleen and Dan said, I'm the project manager for the 9th Avenue project from 34th to 50th Street. We are connecting two projects that previously were installed, one to the north from 50th to 58th that was installed in 2022, and then also to the south, a project, both a project that we installed in-house in 2024, and then also in coordination with the Moynihan Capital Project from 31st to 33rd, which was a concrete sidewalk extension. So what we're working on today is a street improvement project, so it'll be pretty similar to the photo that you see on the right of the screen, where it's a painted sidewalk extension, as well as a bike lane that exists. So one of the metrics that we use for doing projects is safety data, and 9th Avenue is a Vision Zero corridor. So as you can see here, there have been several injuries and one fatality pedestrian fatality at West 40th Street. So we're really glad to get this project started to help improve safety along this corridor. Another metric that we use is our pedestrian mobility plan. So 9th Avenue is what we call, as part of this plan, a regional corridor. And we categorize these streets based off of stores, subways, buses, other pedestrian generators. And so based on the pedestrian generators on 9th Avenue, we suggest that it should have a width of 20 feet and a clear path of 12 feet. As you can see from this photo, because of various street trees, cellar doors, other types of street furniture, often the clear path is as narrow as 5 feet, which is really just not sufficient for a corridor like this that sees such high pedestrian volume. So here's a very high-level overview of what we are what we propose to install along 9th Avenue. You can see these are sort of how we categorize the lanes. Up top, you can see several vehicle lanes, and then a parking lane and a bike lane to an easternmost lane. In our proposed lane assignments, we will be converting one of these lanes fully from 50th to 34th to a super sidewalk lane. And then from 42nd to 50th, we will be painting the existing bus lane and extending it to 50th Street. I'll get into more of these treatments as we go along, but I'll first kind of review the existing typical block that you are all very familiar with as community board members. But basically, we see, again, these vehicle lanes and then a bicycle lane along the corridor. So the existing typical block, kind of as I mentioned before, it's very cluttered and narrow. You can see very high pedestrian volumes on the screen to the right, and even some people, walking in the bike lane just because the sidewalk is quite narrow. The bike lane, the painted bike lane is also pretty narrow as it's only 5 feet painted. You can see in the upper right photo, there's some crowding and a lot of people hope to pass each other, but it is a bit narrow for this. There's also frequently buses stuck in traffic. We see a lot of traffic on this corridor, so that's why we're hoping to install the bus lane. And then something else that we see a lot on the corridor is quite a need for bike parking. There's a lot of bike parking needs and micromobility use along the corridor for deliveries and just typical bike use. So here's just a summary of everything I just said. Frequent pinch points along a pretty narrow sidewalk, a narrow bike lane, street furniture clutter, buses stuck in traffic, and a need for bike parking along the entire corridor. So here's an overview of a typical block and how we hope to address some of these issues. You can see on the eastbound cross streets, we will be removing the existing island, concrete island that is on the south side of these eastbound cross streets, and installing a new concrete island to the north. Most of the islands will be painted. And we will be installing bike parking in those. We also will be painting some curb extensions at crowded corners to kind of further expand the sidewalk on the onset to the side streets. And along this portion of the super sidewalk, it will be an extra 9 feet for pedestrians. On the westbound cross streets, we will be maintaining the existing islands. And that reminds me, something I missed. So the reason why we chose the eastbound intersections to move the islands is really because of the leftbound vehicle conflict heading on to the side streets. So we really wanted to make sure the bicycles were protected as these vehicles turn left. But due to capacity, we can only move so many islands. And we also really wanted to maintain some of these trees that are existing in these islands. So at all of the westbound cross streets, the distance between the existing island and the sidewalk is 11 feet. So you will be getting a little bit extra pedestrian space in these spots, as well as the existing tree here. And then the bike lane will be bending around the existing island. We are also widening the painted bike lane along the whole corridor. So the new bike lane will be 9 feet wide, and then there will be still there will now be a 3-foot buffer space between the bike lane and the parking lane. We are also adding bike parking along the entire corridor. As I mentioned previously, we can see that there is a huge need for this bike parking all along the corridor. And then the other thing that this does is I mentioned previously that there is quite a bit of street furniture clutter along the sidewalk. So some of the old bike parking that is on the sidewalk will now be removed because it is being replaced and added to with these locations on the street. So that will help also free up some space on the sidewalk, the concrete sidewalk. And then we are adding, as I mentioned previously, the bus lane. We are extending it from 40 to go from 46th to 50th now, and we're also adding time. So right now it runs from 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are adding morning hours, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., both because it's needed, and also if we add hours, we're able to paint the full bus lane red. So that I think helps increase compliance of this bus lane, and this will run every day due to a lot of the weekend traffic that we see as well for commuters to and from New Jersey. Here's just another analysis of a typical block on 9th Avenue. On the top right, you see the typical user numbers compared to each other. And then on the bottom, you can see how we plan to address this with our proposed typical block, really increasing that pedestrian space again to meet that demand on the regional corridor of 9th Avenue. So we are really getting closer to providing sufficient space for pedestrians with this proposed block. With this pedestrian-centric design, we do acknowledge there will be a traffic adjustment period and potentially just additional congestion above 42nd Street. We predict there will be in order to maintain existing operations, the design requires a 20% reduction in all vehicles. And then to the south of 42nd Street, we are maintaining all of the turn lanes into the Lincoln Tunnel. So we don't predict a need to reduce the vehicles that are turning into the tunnel. Of course, there's already like significant congestion along the corridor here. But for that through traffic, we will need to see like a decrease in vehicles in order to maintain existing operations. So that's maybe where you'll see a little bit more of that backup. Something that we are doing for signal timing to try to help mitigate this backup and help reduce this congestion is on 39th Street. The existing conditions are if you're turning left onto 9th Avenue from 39th Street, it's held for 7 seconds to let pedestrians cross on the southern crosswalk. What we're proposing is a full leading pedestrian interval. So that means that this left turn onto 9th Street or 9th Avenue will be held for a full 20 seconds. This is twofold. Like it will help give pedestrians more time to cross in that south crosswalk and also help that blocking of the box backup that you see of people turning on to 9th Avenue from 39th. We are looking into this at 37th Street as well, but we currently don't have the signal capacity to implement that this year. You know, our signals unit only has so many intersections that they can work at per year. So just know we are working on it, but it's just not something that we have the capacity to implement this year. So this is all going to get implemented this year, and then you know we're proposing to implement it this year, and then we'll continue to analyze this corridor and see how these changes impact things and see if we can make additional adjustments. And then something else that we're working on that we're really, really excited about is a partnership with Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen Alliance to implement some greening. So in those westbound cross streets, on the right of your screen, you can see we're maintaining the trees on the existing islands, and we're hoping to extend this planted area out, and Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen Alliance will help plant this space with low plantings. This will help improve the tree health of these trees in the islands. And also, I think it provides like a nice gateway welcome to the super sidewalk and sort of helps define it from the rest of from the bike lane and the moving lanes and sort of provides that extra protection. And then on the north side, because of utility issues, we can't do in-ground plantings, but we are working with Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen Alliance to do trees and planters as well as other plantings in above ground planters to again like have these nice plantings to welcome people into the super sidewalk and define the space. So you can see on the upper right-hand corner the places that we are going to pilot this initiative between 36th and 39th, and then we're hoping to continue to expand this if it's successful. Along the rest of the corridor, we will be defining the super sidewalk with granite blocks. One note with this is we are experiencing a little bit of a granite block shortage. So, you'll see these sort of phased in terms of implementation. Like we don't have enough to put them on the entire corridor currently, but we hope to prioritize them as we have them. And this is how they will be placed along the super sidewalk. And that brings me to the implementation. So we are the roadway, all of 9th Avenue is planned for a repaving, which will happen in early to mid-April. Ahead of the repaving, we need to do some signal work and some concrete demolition of those islands that I was talking about. So you'll see a little prep work before the roadway repaving. The paving will happen, and then we will go ahead and do the rest of the concrete work. We're really hoping to finish that before the World Cup embargo on June 8th. However, we will be continuing to work to paint the entire corridor during the embargo, and hope to finish up late summer, early fall. And here's just another graphic of the full corridor lane assignments existing and proposed, just as something that maybe we would want to discuss over. But yeah, that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So exciting. Okay, so I'm going to go around the room. No.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, I'll go first. So we're gonna
Yeah.
what are you planning to do on 34th Street? Because on the left side of 34th Street, if you're going southbound, it's sort of been commandeered by the police department, 1 to 2 lanes depending on the time of day. And so are you installing any sort of like concrete there or permanent fixtures? And are you coordinating with the NYPD precinct there to ensure that the work can be done?
Yeah, we are not currently installing concrete at 34th Street. We do not have this sort of concrete and greening pilot is only between 36th and 39th due to capacity, but we are hoping to in the future expand to south and north, but it's kind of up to our capacity for that.
Well, what about those small Jersey barriers along the bike lane? Just on that block.
You're talking about protection between the bike lane and the left turn bay where the police department
Yes.
sometimes parks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Uh,
24 hours a day for decades.
So at a minimum, they wouldn't park in the bike lane. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we can look into a vertical delineation, whether it's a Jersey barrier or a quick curb or anything that will be effective at
Okay.
holding the bike lane free from the police department. But to be honest, I'm expecting them to be in the turn bay, not in the bike lane. So if that does also occur, then we'll probably shy away from adding extra stuff into our roadbed if it's operating the way we intend it to.
Yeah, and Christine, I think I mentioned this in the pre-meeting. We're going to reach out to the local precinct and let them know about this project so that,
Yeah.
they don't, obstruct that corridor there. I'm already in touch with them. Okay?
Good. Good.
Great.
Okay. Next. Pete.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. My question to you is, how do you plan to address the sidewalk cafes and the street sheds along the avenue?
Yeah, so we looked at the permits for
And the
sidewalk.
design, by the way. And design as well, just in case some of these restaurants intend to change their design.
Right, I see. So along the corridor, all of the restaurant permits are on the street. So we see the super sidewalk as an asset to this because there'll be more clear space as the sidewalk has this increased use for a restaurant. Does that answer your
So
question?
essentially, the roadway cafe are going to be in the parking lane, right?
All the roadway cafe, all the street dining that is permitted currently in this project area will be on the concrete sidewalk, existing concrete sidewalk. Those are all the ones that were approved.
Oh, okay, so there is no roadway approved, got it.
No.
Will the footprint change in any way?
No.
Okay, well, it'll remain the same.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
I didn't totally understand the need. So there's a need for reduced vehicle capacity by 20 or 30%, but is there a plan to make that happen? Or, and what to maintain operations, like what operations were you referring to there? And what happens if traffic is not reduced?
Right. Yeah. So that's a good question. So I basically was kind of talking about how, there's a huge volume of pedestrians along this corridor, and we see this project as a huge asset to pedestrian mobility in this area. Whereas the reality is we are reducing the corridor by one vehicle lane, and so there will be, is a potential to be increased vehicle congestion along the corridor. And so we do this thing called a sensitivity analysis, and basically it projects the traffic impacts or traffic congestion along the corridor. And basically, because we are reducing the corridor by the vehicle lane by one, we are reducing the lanes by one for vehicles between 42nd and 34th. That just requires, there's 30% less vehicles that are
Sure, but there's no obligation to maintain existing operation.
No.
So
no.
Right, so that's
Right.
just that we're willing to.
It's just, and typically what happens is that it can be more congested for a little while, and then people find it.
Sure, right,
Right.
and they just start taking less than, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And then my other question was just about loading zones, because there's not a great separation between the parking lane and the bike lane. So if there's deliveries being made to businesses there, sometimes we see delivery trucks parking bike lanes.
I mean, one of the concerns is that we have right now Amazon as essentially get to park on the parking lane, on the delivery lane, and then they spread their operation over the bike lane and then over the super sidewalk. And what can we do to protect against that?
So we designed the project with the loading needs in mind, based on personal observations, feedback from the board 2.5 years ago, and parking data that we can collect internally. We found that, or we are expecting that the loading needs that will be met with the existing parking lane. And the fire hydrants that should be also clear as well. So all of the prediction is that we aren't going to see people parking or loading in the bike lanes. That said, we might be wrong, and if that does happen, we have a few tricks up our sleeves in out years that we can try and implement if this becomes an issue.
Yeah, and just to add, to
Wait.
that, I was actually in the area flyering, and what I noticed, it's not like you have large commercial establishments there. It's mostly like restaurants that are along that corridor. So I don't see the loading issue. I don't see the loading needs being an issue.
But I understood the last time we talked about that you were going to reduce not reduce, but change the regulation. So it's 30 minutes max or 1 hour max. Did I get that right?
We would like to do that. We do not have that finalized just yet, so we're not talking about it officially in this conversation yet.
Okay. So if we had shorter time, just
Higher,
prevents people.
yeah, higher
Like
turnover
higher-
means there's
higher
more.
turnover.
Yeah.
Then people can park.
There's more.
Load.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Good start. It's a good start.
Good. Nothing.
I agree. I think it was a great presentation, very thoughtful. Can't wait to see it move down to Chelsea.
Write us a letter and give us a few years.
Don't tempt us.
No rush.
Start now.
You know.
It's easier down there.
Yeah, it will be actually.
Okay. Sorry.
I have two questions. My first question has to do with experiencing this super sidewalk uptown, which I absolutely love. But I find there's not a time that I don't walk in that super sidewalk that I don't see a car also with me on the super sidewalk, or bikes going in the wrong direction. And it's not recreational biking, it's typically delivery people. And I sympathize with them, but on the other hand, they go so fast. And I don't even know if they see the images. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They might not see the images on the ground that you place, but there's no real, I don't know. There's no way of keeping cars or those bikes out. And I'm not suggesting that you use those tire spikes, because I think that's a little bit too aggressive, but maybe given the fact you mentioned you have tricks up your sleeve, if you can come up with something that might be better in keeping those two types of vehicles out, I would love it. I won't put you on the spot now. My second question.
Hold on, I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
So what are the agreements with NYPD as far as enforcing what is on the super sidewalk? Do they know that this is a super sidewalk? That means it is like a sidewalk, like if the car was on the sidewalk, they would, give tickets and tow away, etc.
I mean, I believe they do, they have, but we can reach out to them and ask and get back to you on that kind of a specific question. The precincts want to enforce the rules, in my experience, but sometimes they have a challenge with something like a lack of signage that points to the rules, or they have an issue with staffing, or they don't understand our design as intended. So we can continue to work with them and try to get back to you for that question.
Okay, that'd be good. All right.
Okay, and the second question is, I use these blocks. As a matter of fact, I use these blocks coming to this meeting today, where I was weaving in and out between people. So I'm sort of curious. I mean, I think this is great, but during construction, do you have an area that's going to be set aside that's wide enough for us to walk? Because this is not just over a week, it's going to be
That's a sidewalk.
No, but during construction.
The construction is in the roadway. Today, we are not supposed to, the problem would be more for the bikes, I guess.
Right.
Where the bike lane is going to be disrupted. What is going to be the construction period accommodation to the bike lane?
I would like to walk you through how it's gonna go. So we're going to mill the entire roadway, and all of the bikes are gonna have to suffer through a couple weeks of no asphalt. As a cyclist myself, I hate that, but there's no way around it. So when we put down the new asphalt, our crews will spray paint something that says bike lane to keep cars from parking in there. It typically works, sometimes it doesn't. And then there will be, within 5 days, we should have I don't want to make any promises, but we should have a lot of the markings started, if not, clearly set up so that way people know where the bike lane is and where the cars are supposed to be. But typically on other streets, when we're making a change, usually we're adding a bike lane, so it's new. In this case, it's already there, so maybe it's not going to be like this. But typically, behavior of parked vehicles starts to improve once we get the green paint down, and then they start sort of parking in the right spots. So there's going to be a period of sort of awkwardness, and we're all sort of a little irked that it's not as intended, but just be patient with us. And as more markings go down, then the bikes will figure out where they're supposed to be. They'll theoretically move over, and we're going to continue working on it. That said, the construction that Mary was referencing is the concrete construction. The painting construction should go down kind of fast. The concrete construction takes a little bit longer. It's a little more substantial work. So that should not be blocking anybody walking on the sidewalk or walking in the super sidewalk if it's been installed. That should be off to the side and closer to the moving lanes.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you both for this presentation. It's fantastic. I'm the neighborhood's #1 super sidewalk fan. And Dan, I remember you gave me a tour of the super sidewalks for Open House New York 3 years ago. And kind of teased up what was going to be happening with this space. So I'm so glad it's finally happening. One question I have is, I love all the planters, and I love that that's going to be done with HY bid. I'm just wondering, on our super sidewalk in the 50s, I see DSNY uses it for garbage pickup. There are street sweepers that go down it. So are we able to put planter, does DSNY need to use the lane? Or can a planter be blocking the entrance to the lane?
So yeah, one thing that we're working on with Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen Alliance is the maintenance of the space, and that's why we can put these plantings in. So that's why our partnership with them is so important. They have agreed to maintain the space, which includes not only taking care of the plantings, but also helping to sweep and maintain the space as needed.
Got it. So because there's a sanitation partner, the street sweeper doesn't need to go down. That's great. So
Wait, just one clarification. The street sweeper will still go down the super sidewalk, right?
Let me. DSNY prefers to not go down the super sidewalk because in other locations like 8th Avenue, there's a lot of pedestrians in the way, and they feel uncomfortable driving and trying to clean a space when there is pedestrians in their space. And I can't blame them for that. That does feel a little ominous for me as a pedestrian. So with the Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen maintenance agreement, DSNY shouldn't have to go down the super sidewalk, and they're also going to prefer not to. So that's where we stand. We are meeting with DSNY later next month to go over finer details.
Can you guys speak to what the hardened protection is between the bike lane and the moving lanes when the bike lane goes around the concrete islands and is right next to the moving traffic?
Yes, we will be putting quick curb in between the bike lanes and the moving lanes where it's on the outside of the island.
Great, love that. I have one question, and I'm going to share my screen. May I allow this? So you guys are proposing to put moving the concrete islands on the south side of the intersections when cars are turning to head east. Is there a reason not to build new concrete on the north side? I feel like as a cyclist, I would want more of a hardened offset crossing and more protection on the north side before the car turns versus after. Can you talk about what hardened protections might be in this spot? I know we have little speed bump armadillos that unfortunately have all been destroyed on the northern part, but I'm curious what the protection is there and what the thinking is.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be keeping those rubber speed bumps there, replacing them with the repaving, and then for the painted island on the northern side, we will be putting in concrete islands at all the places where we're doing those greening, and that is between 36th and 39th. And then we are hoping to expand the concrete, but right now we don't have the concrete capacity to do all of the northern islands. So we're kind of picking and choosing where we see the most priority need.
Yeah,
Got it. So there'll be a long.
what we're
Go ahead.
not we're not showing you is that this project has been the subject of a vast amount of internal DOT compromises in terms of resource allocation and how we're going to spend our budgets on what we're going to spend our budgets on. So Mary and I are very proud that we've got as much as we've gotten out of the agency's limited budget for this project for this year. In future years, if this project goes well or the board has some great ideas that we can improve on our project, then we do hope to come back, fingers crossed, in a future year with additional concrete or additional hardening or additional fixes on something that we overlooked this time around. So all that's to say that we acknowledge that the protection you're asking for isn't as awesome as it could be, but we still want to do that. We're just trying to show you what we can do this year.
Yeah, that's great. I want to say I'm thrilled with the 9-foot wide bike lane. I would say in the 50s next to the super sidewalk with the 6-foot bike lane, it's quite crowded. And I think that's why you see a lot of cyclists in the super sidewalk, because they're passing. There are also cyclists, as Tina said, that are going the wrong way and using the super sidewalk as a contra flow bike lane. I think that's an enforcement issue, but hopefully with the bike parking in the islands too, it'll encourage cyclists to stay on that side. And it's so exciting to see a red painted bus lane on 9th Avenue. I know we're all celebrating that. I'm curious, will there be camera enforcement on the bus lane during times? Will we have the buses that have cameras?
Colleen, do you know that answer? Because I know I should know
Hey.
this, but I don't.
Hey, so we'll have to coordinate that with MTA and find out if they have or they will have cameras on the bus, and we'll get back to the board.
That would be nice, because I feel like people have been used to parking in this spot for so long, and it's going to take some education and some nudging and maybe a little bit of financial incentive for people not to park there.
Right.
But I would also say, I know this is way out of the scope of this project specifically, but if we're painting a bus lane starting at 50th Street, there's no reason why it can't go to 59th Street. So we hope at some point we can get the whole corridor.
Next letter.
Yeah, next letter. And then I just wanted to share my screen briefly one more time and just talk about some stuff from the existing super sidewalk and how we can learn from this. I did a little survey of all of the flex posts between the super sidewalk and the bike lane between 58th Street and 50th Street yesterday, and 56.7% of them were missing. On one block, 100% of the flex posts were missing. So obviously, I love seeing those concrete blocks in the presentation, and concrete blocks would be so much better than flex posts to delineate the bike lane and the super sidewalk. And go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Is that below 42nd Street, aren't the HYHK bid going to install planters to separate the bike lane from the super sidewalk, as it is
Yes.
on 8th Avenue, right?
Yes, they will be putting planters between 42nd and 34th along the
But
super
I'm talking about
sidewalk.
specifically between the super sidewalk and the bike lane.
Yes, so they only have so many planters that they can care for. So we are prioritizing planters at the intersections between the bike lane and the super sidewalk. And then in the mid-block area, we will use granite blocks just to, they don't have capacity to do planters all along the way. So it'll be kind of some of each.
But below 42nd Street?
Yes, from 42nd to 34th, below 42nd Street.
And before you go on, Mr. Todd, if you want to send us your survey of missing flex posts, we should be able to get them restored in a fairly quick turnaround. Unfortunately, flex posts are very analog, so we do not have a way to electronically know when they're missing. So you just got to let us know.
Got it. Well, I'll be better with 311 or emailing Colleen about
Yeah,
this.
you can. Yeah.
Send them to me, and we have a
Yeah.
really great team in MassPath, and they'll get out there and they'll repair them, or they'll reinstall new ones.
Great. Yeah, and there's one block where there's 100% of them are missing, but I thought that might be because of the impending changes. That's right at 50th Street.
No, it's because of
But great to
hitting
hear about the concrete blocks. Sorry, the granite blocks. Sorry, there's a granite block shortage, but I hope we can get as many as possible to replace flex posts so we don't have this issue. And then the other thing I wanted to point out about flex posts is that on 8th Avenue, there are flex posts on both sides of the bike lane. I know as a cyclist, I appreciate that one because cars, they like to kind of encroach in on this buffer zone and they end up parking like halfway in the buffer zone. And I think the flex post prevents them from being able to do that. So if there's some thought to having some vertical protection, whether it's a flex post or armadillo or my dream would be like a 6-inch granite curb, but to have something in between just to prevent cars from, inching closer and closer to the bike lane, and just also to provide protection, or in the morning or late at night when there are no parked cars, it's nice just to have a little bit of protection. I'll also let Colleen know, I think every left turn on the current corridor in the 50s is missing the armadillo. It just somehow they get taken away by trucks or whatever. A frequent occurrence on the super sidewalk in the 50s is these grease removal trucks like to park. And I get that they have this tube that if they parked in the parking lane, the tube would go over the bike lane. Although I think they could use like a yellow jacket ramp or something. I'm just curious if they're planters blocking these trucks from doing this. I think that's great, but is the idea that they would just have to be in the parking lane and have their tubing go over the bike lane? Because there are lots of restaurants along this corridor and it's a pretty frequent occurrence.
You want a response?
Yeah. Yes.
Our current vision for the eventual build out will have a lot of stuff in their way, so they won't really be able to do what you're showing here. One of the things that I think is worth acknowledging is that the existing super sidewalk between 50 and 58th is not operating as ideally as we would like it, including this photo and including sort of the barren, including, environment, including the wrong way bikers that someone alluded to earlier. So we've spent a lot of time trying to come up with design considerations that will sort of naturally move those misbehaviors off. We're not making any promises right now. We got to test them out and see if they work. Plus, as I said, it's only a short, it's only a part of the vision that's going to be installed this year. So hopefully it goes away and they go into the parking lane and they use some kind of ramp over their tube, or they can elevate the tube over the ramp, the bike lane, something like that. But at the moment, this might still happen until our full vision is finished.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you saying that the existing super sidewalk is phase 1. And we hope that once phase 2 is installed and it's fantastic, we'll go back and fix phase 1 and have a 9-foot bike lane there and all the other bells and whistles. Yeah, and there's a delivery truck issue. I just wanted to point this out because it's where you're installing, this is between 49th and 48th where the new super sidewalk will go in. Almost every day, Liberty Spirits at 706 9th Avenue parks their delivery truck there. So sounds like we have some ways to mitigate that. And another thought that I had was maybe we could extend some commercial metered parking on, around the corner onto the side streets. Just, it was brought up by another committee member that making sure we have enough loading zones and delivery spaces for these restaurants, and maybe taking.
Will you be sharing this deck with us? Because there's a lot of stuff in here that, it's hard for me to write it all down.
Yeah, I will then. But yeah, I don't know. A thought was maybe having some additional loading zones on, the side street, just a couple of spaces around the corner.
Yeah, and we would be more than happy to look at that. And I know that the board is going to send us a resolution, so we'll be more than happy to do that.
Great. And then another committee member brought up the Midtown South parking. I think, as we all know, they park in the left-hand turn lane. We're just north of 34th Street, which where the super sidewalk is going in. I just wanted to offer one solution that my friend Jahia suggested to me for this, which is there's a city bike rack at 35th Street. 35th Street does not have a bike lane. If that city bike rack moved down to 34th Street, where the chronic road, street moving lane parking is, perhaps that's a win-win to have a city bike rack there. Provides nice protection for the bike lane and sort of mitigates the fear of Midtown South parking.
You can do that. I mean, the adjacent to the bike lane is a turn lane, so it's a moving lane. You can't put a bike rack there.
Right, but what about 9th Avenue?
No,
I mean,
on
something
9th,
like.
on 9th.
But I mean, I'm sorry. What about 8th Avenue? Like this example right here, that type of a bike.
Oh.
Yeah. And then finally, one final point. Thank you guys for being patient and letting me get through all this. This committee has asked for green wave signal timing on 9th in the past. If we're resignaling 9th Avenue for this project, it seems like a great opportunity to set it to green wave, 15 miles an hour, like they have on 3rd Avenue. We have so many delivery cyclists, and we do have residents that complain about them running red lights. But if we had green wave timing, they wouldn't run the red lights because they go 15 miles an hour, and it would solve that issue for us.
Is that an option?
That is not a current part of the current proposal, but it's not a no.
Right. Okay. So what we'll do is we probably will do our letter and attach some of that deck, Charlie, if this is okay with you, on additional ideas and suggestions. I have one more question for. What are you doing at 40? There are 3 intersections which have the most crashes: 46, 42nd, and 40. Any special treatment there?
I can bring up my screen where I have a assessment of all the treatments that we're doing at each intersection.
Especially on 40th Street, because I think we talked earlier, you said we're not doing something at 40th Street. So I want to know what's really happening there. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, so at 40th Street, we will be removing the island, so the bicycles and will be protected from that turn. But because of the upcoming Port Authority project, we are keeping this section in paint, but we will still put either a granite block or a planter in these painted islands. So there'll be 2 painted islands at 40th, and then we are also putting a curb extension on the south corner. So this will also shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians crossing 40th Street.
And what about 46, which seems to be the next big?
Yeah, 46th has an existing concrete curb extension, so the crossing distance is already shortened, but we will, again, because this is an eastbound cross street, we will be removing the island and putting in a new concrete island to both protect the bike lane and pedestrians. Yeah, that will help with some hardening there.
Okay.
And then remind me, what was the 3rd intersection you said?
The 3rd one was 45.
45. Okay. Yeah, so we are maintaining the concrete islands there because it is a westbound intersection, but we are putting in a painted curb extension for pedestrians crossing on the east side. So for pedestrians crossing 45th Street, they will have a shortened crossing.
That's great. That's great. Okay, well, I mean, I am delighted. I know that the DOT and the team have done tremendous negotiation to get us here this year, and we are very, very grateful. And it's not perfect, but it's very, very good. I mean, if we had that proposal 10 years ago, we would have said, "Oh, it's wonderful," right? And now Now we want more every time, right? So I'm proposing that we write a resolution. I mean, what I'm hearing is that
Christine.
for the budget, yes.
Sorry, there's two people in the attendees that want to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me bring them over. It's
Obviously.
Ron and Richard.
And Chris as well.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. So I'm Chris Sanders, and I live on 35th Street and in Herald Square. And I really love this project and want to lend my support to it. And also, you know, if DOT wants to do anything to 35th Street, to make it more pedestrian friendly, we certainly love that as well. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Ron?
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. And hello, Colleen, wherever you are. Oh, there you are. I'm going to just run down my points here about what suggestions and et cetera. And I hope, Charlie, that when you write this letter, you could just give us some, just say, and the community said this at this hearing. We would appreciate being on the record. First of all, has the fire department protocol been followed where you're supposed to consult with the fire department about emergency vehicles and access? At the February 25th City Council hearing of the Committee on Fire and Public Safety, the fire department testified that the DOT has been ignoring that, not consulting with the fire department, going ahead and building things, and then going to the fire department after it's a fait accompli. I hope that's not the case with this, because it looks like, where do the emergency vehicles go? If they come down this narrowed path, they're stuck. They're already stuck now. And so you're making it more difficult to get them. And on 9th Avenue, you know, well, that's number one. The islands that you're building in the middle of you know, where you run across the first thing to get to the island, and then you have to stand there until you get across the other one. The same as it is now, I take it, except in a different place or a little larger or further out. I'm not sure what the design shows.
They are just further out. They are the same design as today.
Yes, that you do not put them on any kind of angle, because elderly people who have arthritis or problems or hip issues or whatever, if you're stuck on that island and you're there with 4 or 5 people standing there waiting to take the next step across to the further distance across the sidewalk, I've seen, and just observe it, you'll see what I mean. They're standing there on the ones that have an angle, and they start to lose their balance. You can't stand that long that way if you're old. And that would be very helpful to try. And if you're there with 4 people, you have nowhere to go. Those things, those plastic things that stick up on those islands, do those still exist? What are they called?
Flexible delineators you're talking about?
Plastic, and they
the white flexi posts.
Yeah, what are they for?
I mean, they're not typically on islands, but they are to delineate vertically, and at night they have a reflectivity to them, so people can see the edge when they're using their headlights and they're driving.
Oh, all right, but that's fine. But I'll tell you, you might want to find another solution for that, because during the daytime, what happens is, as I just said, when people are, or disabled people too, when you're on that island, it looks like at first glance, and you never do it again, obviously, when this happens, but I've done it when they first were installed. You think it's solid. You start to lose your balance, and you grab it, and you fall. No, it's not funny. If an elderly person falls, their life has changed.
I'm not laughing at the falling. I'm laughing at how much I know you're right. I'm like, yes, I have tried to use one of those as a support. And
it's emotional for me because I've seen people do this and I've seen the result, and it's not at all a laughing matter for them.
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Now, Dan, when maybe some reflecting thing on the embedded in the a concrete on the side of it for the cars at night. I don't know, but that needs another solution because these things are really aesthetically very ugly after they're there for a day or two because they get bent up and they're dirty and it's okay. How do you propose to keep the vehicles and well, there's a bike lane, a protected bike lane. How do you propose to keep the bikes off the super sidewalk? Because right now, at 50th to 58th Street, first of all, not many pedestrians use it.
Right.
They don't use it, but you know why? Is because we're walking 9th Avenue. If you're walking downtown, the bikes are behind you, and you cannot trust that they're going to not hit you, even because even though they could see you behind, because they're right behind you, and people are frightened of being hit, and rightfully so. And so that is a big issue. There's no signs, as the committee knows. Broken record here. I've talked about signage. I've talked about and Christine and I have talked about with the city bike issue, etc. We can't get anywhere. Now with DOT, Dan, we need to get somewhere with signs that say things like move one way. That's you can paint that on the bike lane. This is one way as they're riding because either you're not going to have any enforcement now.
Ron, let give him some space to answer.
Wait, just one more point. You can talk all you want. I'll listen after, but you're not going to have any enforcement really to speak of now that the C summonses are done because that was the only way you got them to pay their fines. Now what's going to happen is they can flee the police. The police can't give chase. So the police, if they stop, the bikes can just keep going, which is what they do. They flee accidents, they flee the scene. So enforcement is not going to solve this issue, but let's try to come up with some ideas like signs that creatively maybe will help. I mean, right now there are no signs, and make, Dan, those things that you paint with the arrows and everything, make them bigger. I said this last time I was here. Go to Tribeca to Erickson and 6th Avenue where the police precinct is there, and look at how you have the streets marked there. They're marked very well. Do that up here. Do that up here, please. Widening the bike lane, emergency vehicles, okay. The bike parking, the new bike parking, that's good. That's good. That's great. Because we got to get these lithium ion batteries off the sidewalks because they're very dangerous because they can spontaneously explode, and they have, and cause fires, etc. And we don't want that to happen. So right now, as they're chained to lamp posts and street posts, etc., we need to get them off those. And this, I hope, is that your intention? To move them onto these new ones on the street and remove the ones that exist now. That's a very good plan. What do you plan to do about the battery charging cabinets that your department plans to place around the city?
It's not part of that.
That's it. That's
not
different.
part of it.
Yeah, Ron, let's let DOT
Right.
answer your questions. I think we've heard
that question is not part of this.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, what plan do you have? You say you have a partnership with Hudson Yards, and what was the other business improvement district?
No, it's only one. It's HYHK, and it's one business, and they go all to 42nd Street, but they don't include Manhattan Plaza.
Are they going? Oh, they go to 42nd Street, but they don't go further north?
Right.
Oh, all right. Well, we need somebody to clean the streets between 57th and 42nd. Then who's going to do that?
Right, but they said they were going to meet. They were meeting with sanitation and putting a plan together.
But that hasn't been done yet, I take it then. The problem, Christine, as you know, is that when these planters and things, garbage gets caught underneath and it stays there forever.
No, the planters are going to be only below 42nd Street, not above.
Oh, okay. And what about the cleaning of right now. Go out there and look at the bike lane that exists. It's ugly, ridiculous living like with filth like that. They can't clean it because I guess they can't get the sweeper in, right?
No, they have sweepers which fit in there, and we'll make sure in the letter we'll ask about the sanitation plan.
Yeah, it's a big issue for people up here because our streets are really just litter strewn, and they've started picking up the baskets more for. And do you have places for that? Like,
all right, let's stick with the subject. So that's your list.
Piece because it's all about space. And
right, but I mean, this is
all right.
I'm trying to spare time for other people.
Yes, I've said enough. Thanks for hearing it. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, Ron, it's Colleen. I just love your energy. I just have to say that. You asked an important question, which we're prepared to answer in terms of the consultation with FDNY. Yes, we did. We consulted with FDNY, and we were able to discuss the project with them, and they are fine with it, just so you know. And we did share our consultation report with the community board, letting them know that this was already done. And the date that we consulted with FDNY, it was on January 6th of this year, just so you know.
Pauline, you were at that hearing I'm talking about, February 25th. I think you were there remotely.
We don't want to reopen that, Ron. Yeah. We don't want to reopen the discussion.
About how
we all were at that hearing. We all heard what you said, and this is a good point. Now, Colleen just responded.
I didn't testify. It's the city council hearing I'm talking about. The Colleen was.
I know.
No, Ron, I wasn't there. Ron, I was not there. I was actually I was actually in Iceland.
Good for this. Just let me. It's one sentence.
Yeah.
The fire department were talking to your bosses and saying that they thought that they could put cutouts in the parking thing so that cars could get out of the way from emergency vehicles. Has that been discussed with this project?
I am sure that we are in deeper discussion with FDNY and some of the requests that they're asking us to look at. So, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm not privy to that conversation, but we can definitely follow up with you and with the community board.
Great. Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome.
And thanks, Christine and everybody.
Thank you, Ron.
We also have Richard, who's been waiting to speak.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I really just have something very simple to say. I'm 81 years old, going on 82. I walk everywhere in this city. I've seen what the DOT has done to Central Park. So you've lost my trust there. I kind of lost the trust of Community Board 4 because since 2020, I've been afraid to cross the street every time I walk in my neighborhood. And I don't see any protection, real protection, for people crossing the street. And that includes, there's still no accountability. There is no, if you want to use your money somewhere, put it into publicity to pass laws against bike riders, city bike riders, delivery riders who break the law, whether they drive too fast, run red lights, turn at the wrong spot. Make it easier to cross the street again. That's all I have to say. And I really don't trust anyone here now. I don't trust our city council. I don't trust our community boards. I don't trust these meetings where we speak. I don't see a change. With all the new construction, all the bike lanes and everything, I don't see a difference when I go to cross the street. Thank you.
So, Richard, I just want to give you some numbers. In our neighborhood, in CB4 neighborhood, we have reduced in the last 6 years, we have reduced the number of injuries and fatality by 25%. Which is more than the average of the city and more than other neighborhoods. So I think it's very hard to see, and I understand what you're saying, that when you are on the ground in front of the cars and the bikes, it feels very dangerous, but the numbers say otherwise. So we will continue, and the fact that we are doing a super sidewalk is going to force cars to go slower. And I agree that the issue of delivery bikes is an issue. We're all pulling our hair on what should be done. And we're going to continue to work on that. So hopefully we can see you next year and the year after, and every time we have a project. So be assured that we are very focused on that, and we are very focused on the results.
Christine.
Thanks.
One thing, Christine, those statistics are not accurate because they are not reported, pedestrian and e-bike or car. Cars are reported, and there are many, many every day. And we all know this. And the way to check that, if you still disagree with me, is ask an emergency doctor in any hospital or urgent care in the city, and they will tell you they see them almost every day. Thank you.
Okay, who's the next person?
That's everyone.
That's it?
Okay. Oh, and someone.
What means Jaya is not there?
No,
Yes.
he wasn't available. Hi, my name is Matthew Robinson. I live in Chelsea. When I looked at the diagram, it seemed that the extended side is only on the eastern side, not the western side.
Yes.
How is that democratic in terms of the owner? I'm looking across the street now at a whole bunch of restaurants. Restaurants on the west side of the street did not get any added benefit in terms of a street side cafe or bus unloading or loading. There's a whole bunch of things that don't seem to be missing on the west side of the street that is where it's all, and the building owners and the co-op owners and stuff like that do not seem to, it seems to be tilted to one
So
side, not to the
I'll
other.
tell you why. So first of all, because the volume of pedestrian is more, way more on the east side than the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So it is a fact that a lot of people are going to the Port Authority from both angles, and the volume is very, very much there. When you go to the west side, it is much quieter. Second, the restaurants are not getting any benefit. They cannot use that super sidewalk at all. Okay, the super sidewalk is there for the super pedestrian to walk on, not for the restaurant to put their sidewalk. Cafe.
No, but they can put it on the existing sidewalk much easier now that there is.
No, it's not much easier. The regulation are still the same. The regulation has not changed. The measurements are not changed. It's all the same. So the restaurant story is not. And the other one is because it is a fact that there are more people on the west side, the east side than the west side. So I think it's taking into account those realities.
I just think that their design's flawed.
Okay. That's it. All right. Very good. So I've taken a lot of notes. Charlie has a lot of notes on things. I think the green wave is important. I think that trying to manage how the e-bikes are not on the super sidewalk is important. I don't know that they have the solution, but I think it's important that we make a point about that, because the community said this is important to them. And I agree, it is important. It was a big problem at the beginning. Confirmed that it will be outreach to NYPD, and these are pretty much, and make sure there is a maximum of vertical delineation, whether it's this year or in the future years, right?
Vertical protection between pedestrians and cyclists, and between cyclists and
both. Right. And then I want to bring up again the signal at 37 and 9, because 37 and 9 is a huge flow coming in, and I'm very nervous that if we don't reduce the green light, the green signal, they're going to block the intersection, which they do block today already. So it's an opportunity to repeat that and say we really want that to be done. So these are the major ones, and then there are some additional that Charlie has in his presentation that we will add. So can we have a resolution, a motion?
Motion.
Second, all in favor? Okay, super.
David, are you in favor?
David?
Yes, I'm in favor. I raised my hand. Yes.
Thank you. We can't see you.
And DOT, if you could come back, we want to say thank you.
We're
You're
still here.
welcome.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And we will send you the comments, and you will get continuous letters from us asking for everything.
Thank you. Thanks so much, CB4.
Thank
I will
you.
stay on.
Thank you very
Right,
much.
thank you
Bye.
You should all know, I think most of you know, but I mean, you know what, that on the 25th of December, this project was canceled. And we had to, promise anything, so we get it back. And I think we are happy that it is back. Okay. So the second item is related to the Port Authority, but it's a subject that usually doesn't come in front of us, but that's the best way to do it, is that for the last, I think, 2 months, the construction of the Port Authority, the beginning of the construction, which is digging into the rock to put piles to support the platforms of the Port Authority, where the platform between 37 and 39 have been constructed essentially at night from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. And it has caused a tremendous amount of stress to the residents. So we have invited the residents to come here to explain the situation and to quantify the situation, and then we will write a letter to the CEO of the Port Authority saying, we can't go 10 years like that, and you better find solutions, right? But so I'm turning to the community.
Do we know why they're doing it at night?
We, according to them, what they are doing is that they are using the normal closure hours from the Lincoln Tunnel, because all those piles are along the lengths of the Lincoln Tunnel. So they would have to close, 1 lane, 2 lanes, whatever, in order to do the job safely. And they are using the current closing hours, which are 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning, and piggybacking on that to do this construction without creating additional slowdown. At least that's what they have told us and explained to us ad nauseum. So we have asked them to come back with a presentation on, what are the volume at which time of the year, the night, and starting at 8 o'clock, and see whether we could move things up to 8 o'clock. And we are waiting for that. But in the meantime, we want to really document that the community is not happy and that it's not something that we can leave for the next step. So please.
Can we speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you can go here if you want.
Camera will queue up wherever you are.
Yeah.
Whichever is best.
Right.
For you guys.
You're
I just
good.
don't want you to have to crane your neck
You're
around. So I'm Wade Stevens. I work with Gotham, Gotham organization. We have numerous buildings in the neighborhood. We spoke to you a number of months ago, prior to the Port Authority construction, about their ramp project on 40th Street.
Right.
Just anecdotally, and to update you a little bit, they have responded to us. We're in dialogue with them. They've improved that somewhat. They're still going to put some columns on the sidewalk adjacent to our property, and we're trying to work through some of those issues. They have advised us that they are complying. They send us, weekly notifications about when they're going to do construction. They have advised us that they're going to comply with the noise mitigation plans that they published in their EIS. We have not, and they are required to do noise monitoring as part of the EIS. So whenever they do construction, they're required to monitor the noise and to verify that they're compliant with the local noise ordinances. So one suggestion that we might make is that the Port Authority provide evidence of that compliance. They're collecting data, and they should be able to provide that evidence that they're complying with what they agreed to comply
But
with to
before
get the
you do
project.
suggestion, could you describe what has happened over the last 2 months?
Okay, I'll get there. I'll get there in a second. The second part is that we've recently heard, and I believe members of the larger community board have heard, that the Port Authority has backed off on their noise mitigation plans. Yeah, again, that's anecdotally. I don't have anything direct from the Port Authority, but I do know that the board may have been advised. So if you could follow up on that with the larger board, we'd appreciate it.
Not officially.
I understand. My colleague here, she'll introduce herself. She runs all the buildings in the neighborhood, and she's the one that the residents call when they can't sleep at night, which some of the residents call, and we know from experience in running buildings that if you get one phone call, there's 10 other people that don't call you, or 12 other people that don't call you. You know, there's one squeaky wheel, and there's 3 other wheels on the car. So,
yeah, so my name is Lysandra. I'm the general manager for the building called the Mayberry, located at 550 10th Avenue. Yeah, like Wade said, we've had significant increase in resident complaints about the noise, especially since the noise seems to start after 11 p.m. and last all the way to the a.m. I believe
When did it start? Two months ago?
I think it's about December that we started to get
December.
resident complaints. December, but it's been recently that we've started to track the complaints that have been coming in. Residents can't sleep. It sounds like there's, the drilling is in their apartment. They feel the vibrations. Noises are traveling up all the way up to past 35th floor and higher. And, they've requested to just break their lease and leave. They can't deal with the noise. They're not getting, enough sleep through the night. They don't want to deal with it.
How many people are I'm sorry, how many people are complaining on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, I have off the top, about over 20. And the list just keeps on adding it. Just got another resident added on yesterday.
How many noise complaints would you say you get ordinarily?
If that one resident's complaining, they're complaining because it's happening almost every night.
But like in a normal time, how many noise?
you mean without construction?
Yeah, like if it's
None.
none. Yeah,
So we just, again, for a little bit of background, when we designed this project, we did do a noise study on 10th Avenue as required for the DEC and OER. So, we did a noise study based on the traffic patterns in the neighborhood. We provided that information, and we increased the noise protection on the windows, the OITC level of the windows.
So on the
we have a
windows,
very-
what kind of windows do you have?
They're double
pane.
It's double pane glass.
And can you give me that reference, the RTC or whatever the number?
It's up in the low 30s. It's at least as high as 30. It varies depending on the height of the building, but it's at least as high as 31. I mean, if you wanted specific data, we could go back to OER, and it's on file with OER in terms of our compliance. And at the end, and when we delivered the project, OER issued a letter of compliance to the DOB that said, yes, we built the building according to what they stipulated. So that's all on record.
And so you have 20, so you have multiple facades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are all these people on the facade facing the work?
Majority are facing the work, but we do have some one-off residents who don't necessarily face the work. We're also hearing noise.
On the sides.
And
On 10th Avenue.
we anticipate that to increase because we know the Port Authority project stretches from the Javits to 8th Avenue.
Yeah.
And the time you go in the building, noise travels line of sight. So if you can see it, you can hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see the Port Authority from, starting in the 20s of our building.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
see the Port Authority.
No, that's why we are concerned about,
It's gonna be
addressing that and nipping it in the bud. You had.
Yeah, but what's happening with the folks at the Covenant House? Are they hearing this, or any complaints? Do the young adults live there?
The young adults do not live in
Oh,
No.
Not
in the
not-
Covenant
No,
House,
in the
not your
Covenant
building.
in the shelter building.
Oh, they don't know.
And I wouldn't know.
Oh,
I mean, we have some.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, you came with the
yeah,
person, right?
yeah, we're,
Have we
we're,
heard
we're
anything
in
from them?
contact with them. And, frankly, at this point, we're first and foremost concerned with our residents.
Your residents,
right. But, we would, advocate that you also talk to the Covenant House, because they're quite vocal when they.
So I have another question, which is, if you had to fix that problem and it was your problem, what would you do? I mean, in other places, they add windows, they have a second window or whatever. What would be the remedy that we could ask the Port Authority to pay for?
So first and foremost, it's limiting the overnight construction.
Right.
And I'll let the Port Authority speak to the impacts of it.
Right. But there is nothing that can be done inside your windows to add a layer or whatever.
You'd have to replace the whole facade.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Technically.
Because it's all integrated.
Yeah, it's a curtain wall.
Oh.
So it's the facade is a one piece.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And again, the OER stipulations did not anticipate overnight construction.
No, obviously. Any question, ideas? So we need to see the number, right? And then we need to figure out how to do the overnight.
The number.
The monitoring, we need to see what the other.
Oh, yes, from them. Yes.
From them, which we can ask for.
But do they have a legal obligation to stick to the noise monitoring? That
Yes, they absolutely do.
Yes, because that's the EIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so they are breaking the commitment they made for the environmental impacts.
Right. So like when you were saying that they might be backing off from that, they can't really do that.
No,
right?
they can't do that.
Right. Okay.
I mean, they can.
It would be illegal. Though.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or ideas, things you have done in other buildings, or we're just getting.
We haven't experienced, to my knowledge, this level of.
Right.
It's one thing to have a building being built next door. It's another thing.
Yeah.
It started with the test borings, which is not terrible, and that's usually done in the daytime.
Right.
But now they're into some pretty heavy demolition, and it's mechanical demolition, which is notoriously.
Have you heard anything when they are taking down the ramps?
Yeah, that's a lot of where the noise is coming from.
Okay, so it's not from the boring, from the pipes.
Well, as far as I know, they haven't started driving in files. They're doing test bores, and they're doing demolition of some of the rampways, which is the first thing they have to do. It's a very complicated, multi-phased overlay construction schedule right now. So they have to start with the demolition, and then they have to build.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. First of all, we're very sorry about this. For you and for yourself. And then we are going to write a letter to the Port Authority saying, you have committed to do mitigation, you have committed to comply with the level, you're not doing it. How come? And not only how come, but you must, right? And then because we can't live like that. It's going to be another 5 buildings, etc. And we need to have a plan, and they need to spend whatever money is necessary to fix it.
If I could add
Yes.
two more comments. So we have, again, anecdotally heard from our neighbors because we're a community-based organization. So, we're always in contact with our neighboring property managers building across the street.
Little bit 550.
550, 555.
Right.
Who there are some residents there who have been quite vocal and published in social media some of their complaints for years. So we know that we're not the only.
Right.
Do
you have a contact at 555 that we could call?
Do you know the property manager over there?
We can get. Yeah, if you could share that with us, because then I call them and get some numbers, like, how many people are complaining, blah, blah. All of that is better if I have that in a letter, right?
The other thing that we're doing is we're advocating for our residents to call 311. Because we know from our, we work with a lot of noise mitigation consultants on all of our projects, and consistently, including some that have relationships with the Port Authority. We know these people, and they've advocated that we contact DEP, because DEP, the more complaints they get, the more serious they take it. So if in addition to contacting the Port Authority, if there's any way for you to
we can copy DEP.
Copy DEP on it.
We copy DEP and we copy all the information.
Okay,
that's what
that would be helpful. I hope that would help.
Christine, can we also reach out to the Covenant House? I mean, I thought it was important enough for you to come to talk, to bring the Covenant House to talk about the changes that you wanted to have happen. But I'd like to know what they're feeling. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
That's a very vulnerable population.
Yeah, if you have the two contacts and you can share.
That's Jack and John.
Right. That means they're shorter term residents.
We can make some phone calls.
But they're also traumatized residents.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll follow up and get you the contact.
I appreciate that you came to help us help you.
Again, thank you for the letter the first time. It did get some.
We just keep doing what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll write a letter with those, points. Say getting the information, stick with the commitment to the EIS, and not do work overnight or change the hours. I mean, realistically, we're starting at 8 and finishing at 2. That would be a better deal. It's not great, but it's it's at least if they have to work on the road, it may we could narrow that down to doing that.
I mean, they've done this before. They need some sort of noise management plan to deal with it.
Well, and also I think they are lazy because they don't want they don't want internally to go to their division of the Lincoln Tunnel and say, hey, we want to close. And I'm saying you closed the Holland Tunnel for 2.5 years, and I had to listen to all the traffic at 37th Street. 2.5 years. And it was not a problem. So how come that was not a problem, but closing 2 lanes of the tunnel is like the end of the world? So I think they have, conflict inside the division. So if we bring the problem all the way up, that's going to help resolve.
What do you expect will happen? Will they come back to you, or will they say Port Authority? So after we send out a letter, what do you expect? What do you think will happen?
Well, I think they're going to come back to the working group and say, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then that is good. Then we'll spread the information about what's going to happen. But because we already had the last meeting we had on the working group was pretty muscled. I mean, we had a tough conversation saying, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? So they heard us loud and clear. So we just need to keep putting the pressure until we get what we want. Okay, so do we have a motion to write that to the DEP, to the elected, to the Port Authority, asking for documentation of their plan, of the measurements, EIS compliance,
Motion.
standard compliance, and then, stopping the work at night or figuring how to do it. Okay, all in favor?
Yay.
Excellent, excellent. Is there anybody, Charlie, is there anybody?
Not seeing any.
Okay. Janine, is there anybody that?
No, there's nobody on. I know Brendan Kelly wanted to give an update. He had emailed us, but I don't know if he wants to raise his hand to speak.
Who wants an update on what?
Brendan Kelly, he wanted to provide an update on the food truck.
Oh, okay, all right. And then we'll go to you, sir. So you have to bring him over. The truck.
Yes, he's here.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you again. Thank you for everything that's been done in the last month. That was incredible what you guys did. It was so fantastic. I just wanted to, Christina's a little bit in on some emails. So I just want to let you guys know what happened. I was actually on a flight yesterday when this occurred, but I've been trying to gather as much info as possible. Yesterday afternoon around 2 o'clock, a few NYPD cars showed up. They approached Mito's food truck and shut down the business for the day. And then NYPD actually drove the truck away. They didn't tow it. They actually got in the driver's seat and went off with the truck, leaving the crew behind. So I'm not sure where the truck went. I'm not sure what the violation or what agency prompted them. So not really sure what, we're happy, we're not complaining. We're just a little bit, if there's a way to find out how that went down, like what was the violation that kicked it off, or,
Well, the best way to do that would be for you to go to the Midtown North and talk to the community and just say, hey, we love what you did, but explain to us, was that another agency who told you, or you did it, or what? I mean,
Okay.
Christine, I wanted to give a little update. I have been receiving some emails from some agencies. One was from Midtown North, and the other ones I believe was from Sanitation and DEP, that they were trying to speed up the process for the truck.
Oh, okay. So here we go. That's the answer.
Great. So they did, that was about 3 o'clock yesterday, and then about 2 hours later, they came back with their food cart, not their truck. So they're back in place. They've been there for 24 hours, and they're using their truck. They have their food cart, and then they have their truck, which is one of their trucks that they use for food delivery supplies, which I explained to you guys in the last video, in the last presentation. And so they have their cart on the sidewalk, and then they have their truck in the street. So they're now occupying 2 spots, which they've been doing for the past 24 hours. And last night, actually, because I came home late on a flight, 6 hours after their truck was removed yesterday, they were getting a propane delivery to the cart. So
if you could document all that stuff,
yeah,
and let's wait a little bit, right, and have all the documentation, and then at the next meeting, we can now send another letter saying, okay, well, this is wonderful, but here is what's going on, and we want you to enforce as well.
Christine, though, the propane is a very serious thing. That's usually, if they're not doing that correctly, that's almost like a 911. So, Brendan, what you need to find out is if the person has a certificate of fitness to handle it, and do they have a permit for the site? Because you have to store it in a certain proper way, and an individual has to have a fitness. If that's not the case, that's an immediate vacate.
So David, instead of that, Brandon, why don't you do 311 and report the propane issue for
Okay.
fire department, or 911? You can do a 911 and say, look, it looks like there is a propane issue, because the fire department can ask them for the certificate. You can't.
Okay. Correct. Yeah, I haven't conversed with them in years because it's crazy.
All right, so that's where we are, right?
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Would it be possible if I email Janine or someone to just get a copy of the letter that was sent out to the agencies?
Sure. Janine, can you send that?
Yeah, it's also up on our website, Brendan.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't know that. So that's
No, the response. Are they on the website?
Oh, no, the responses, no, I can forward them.
Right. That's what you want.
That would be great. So I'll update you in a couple days. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and then we have this gentleman. Can you stand up, come up, and tell us what your problem is? New business.
Yeah, hi, Deepak Setia this side, and I'm running a small business on 9th Avenue, 165 9th Avenue, between 19th and 20th Street. And he's my father, respectively, and he is running on the same sport from last 20 years. We are serving the same community. And the situation arises that in my storefront, there is a bus stop and a commercial meter parking, and my business totally relies on taxi drivers. More than 200 taxi drivers comes every day to my store to get a break and use restrooms, and they have their food and breaks also. Before, we had a taxi stand on 19th and between 19th and 20th Street. I don't know, they moved that taxi stand and they turn it into a commercial meter parking. While on both of the sides, there is on the east side and west side, only commercial meter parks, so nobody comes, and in just about a week, my business comes out to be around a 90% decline. So what I request you guys to please help me, so either reissue that taxi stand or just change the curb regulations to the regular instead of a commercial, so that taxi drivers can come and park their vehicles. Yeah.
Is that your business, or is that
No, it's not
this is
it's the older business.
Yeah.
My business is Dharma Desi Foods. Before, we are on 179th Avenue.
Yeah, right. But this is your building.
Yeah, this is right now. We moved just 2 months before.
Got it. And this is the bus stop here.
This is the bus stop here, and there is a commercial meter park ahead of this. And
where was the taxi stand?
It's in front of this, on the west.
On the west side.
Yeah. No, on the east side.
On the east side.
East side.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't see. We didn't ask to remove the taxi stand. Yes.
We wrote a letter to them. How long ago?
Yeah.
When they were changing all the regulations.
5 years ago.
5 years.
Right.
It used to be on the east side.
So I think we can go back to that letter and say we want you to reinstate the taxi stand, right?
Even though I got a petition signed with more than 200 taxi drivers.
Yeah.
They come into my store every day, and now they can't park there because every time they get a tickets and a violation.
No, we got it.
So that's one thing about, you issued that letter in 2008 in February. If you need that letter, we can email it back.
Oh, we have the letter. Right. We have the letter.
Was the taxi stand on the east side of the street? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
By the bike lane.
By the bike.
And
So
now
we
it's
just
commercial.
Now they change into the commercial.
Yeah.
Curb meter park.
Yeah, that's something that we did long time ago for this, to accommodate this small business.
19 years ago.
Yeah, and we went back and forth. Colleen, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
Colleen, do you remember when we did this taxi stand for this gentleman, and you talked to this gentleman many times?
Is this Mr. Mohinder Singh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do remember. As a matter of fact, he sent me an email, and I'm looking into it.
Right.
Yeah,
so I don't know why.
I don't know
why you Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out why we removed the taxi stand, the taxi relief stand, because we did install it for him many years ago. Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Singh, I got your email. I'll be in touch with you next week. I'll get back to you on the details of it. I'm
Thank you so
curious
much,
myself. Yeah, I'm curious myself as to why we removed the taxi stand. It should have been in place there.
So we have another request.
No, you just won on one request. That's good.
Yeah.
That's you. I know. You come and you say, okay, and I have another one.
Yeah, I will definitely get back to you. I did get your request.
After that, the bus stand also, that bothers us.
No, we don't want to like bus it.
Or you can do, is it possible to change commercial meters to a regular meter?
No.
Commercial meter parking for regular meter parking?
No. No, because this is what we do on every avenue. Okay, so what you're going to get is you're going to get the taxi stand again. Okay, I think once this is done, I think that's the best we can do fast. You know, the rest of it could take.
Actually, the commercial meter parking after 2 p.m. that's always empty. Nobody uses that. If other people can use that, that's for the city, but for us.
It's like we do commercial parking on every avenue so that people do not double park or whatever. And we don't want individual to park there. So that's the city's policy, generally speaking, going forward. So that's it. We're going to make a motion. Why don't you sit down? I heard you, and you got you got the taxi stand. Okay.
All right. We got the taxi stand. That's all. Most of our problem.
Okay. All right.
We are losing parking. Then add some meters inside the streets.
I told you this is it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion for the taxi stand? Restore the taxi stand. All in favor? Yes. So we'll restore the taxi stand.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other new business? That's it? Yes.
Next week or the 25th, there's going to be a 14th Street redesign at Pratt. The neighborhood would like there be some representation from your committee to be at those workshops and anything else so that we can be informed in real time what we need to do and what the concerns might be.
So who wants to take, that's the 14th Street redesign, end to end. Keeping the busway, but changing the design. So which of you live in that neighborhood?
24.
25th.
So which of you want to take over this project?
From 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Yeah, but what I want is somebody who says this is mine, and keep going because there are going to be a bunch of meetings over, right?
Can do it. I can't do it. Is it?
So,
Can you?
I want somebody who lives in Chelsea, right?
That's my neighborhood. I just can't do that meeting.
Oh, you can't do that one.
No.
Okay. Who can sub for you? Can you do that? No?
Maybe Jesse can do it. Jesse lives.
Oh, Jesse should be able to do it.
Yeah.
At 4 p.m.
Right.
Outside the office.
Right.
I'm just really
So we'll get Jesse, see if he can do it, but he works too, right? So
You could also submit comment online. I already submitted my comment for the redesign.
Okay.
But that would be good.
I will be there in
general, I can do it, and I can do it.
So we would send all our comments to you, and then you send it over, and then this is kind of your project and your report. You tell us what's going on, right? So, okay, all right, that sounds very good. Thank you.
Can you send me the information? I'll give you your email address later. Just that.
So motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes. All right. Thanks, David.